really feel like I want to like song after that. Like, I don't know. That probably will bore people, but I be watching some people's like live stream openings. Some of them are entirely too long, but
Yeah.
if you hook it up the right way and you playing the right songs, I'll watch out. You know what I'm saying? I'll stick around until you start if you got a good intro. But anyway, welcome to another
Welcome back, everyone.
live. Yes, with me and my sister. I know you got a heap of topics over there. I'm gonna throw the ball to you because I don't know about a couple of things that we're talking about right now.
Listen, guys.
But
Yes,
welcome
welcome everyone. Welcome back to D City Life Sisters. This has been a fun week. We've done a lot this week actually. It's so funny to think about that it was only a week ago that we were just I know, doesn't it seem like a couple days ago?
Last Thursday was the Shan's event.
Yep. So then I'm going to ask you because we couldn't even go live that day because we were going to the event that night.
Right.
So anyway,
we went live. Yeah, we did.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Shan's, about that event and about the whole podcast. But like, how was your week since the last time we filmed?
This week has been a blur. I've been like just going and doing different stuff and involved in different things. It's so crazy. I went into work a little bit. I've been getting a lot of content stuff done because I'm really going to start to focus a little bit more on Facebook. Like I always post on Facebook, but I never really paid attention to like the monetization part. And I started getting these little messages of like to do things. And I kept, achieving the little things. So I'm like, okay, so we about to look at Facebook a little closer. Anyway, other than that, my week has been good. I've been busy. Looking forward to the weekend. I just turned 47. So happy belated birthday to me. What else? I don't know. That's it. I'm happy to be here. Welcome everybody. How was your week?
I'm happy you're here too. This is one of the best weeks. Like this is one of the best weeks I've had. Like we had a great time last week, hanging out together. I didn't even consider the fact that you had gotten a year older. That's what's really funny. I was like, I had to talking about she's 47.
I had to ask your mother too. How does it feel to have a kid that's almost 50? What's up, Buttercup? She
has to be in the shot, y'all. This is the Buttercup show. But yeah, how does she feel about that?
I think she laughed about it or whatever. I asked her father too. I don't remember what he said. I gotta go back and listen to his message. But I just think that it's interesting because I never really, as I was growing up, I never really thought, I can't wait till I get 40. Or I can't wait. I just used to always, I remember thinking at 18 that 40 was old. You know what I'm saying? And then once I turned 40, I was just like, dang, I was tripping. And so now, obviously, I know that I'm the old head or whatever.
No, you're not.
Listen, I am enjoying aging. I'm enjoying getting wiser. And just, you kind of come into, as you get older, that we couldn't really understand this growing up. But as you get older, you just like begin to get more and more of a, I don't give a.
I know, which is an amazing thing.
It feels so good to just be like, I don't give a fuck about that.
It's an amazing thing. The level of I don't give a fuck that is released from my body. As it's like a hormone or something. It's like I don't know what it is, but I never felt this way before. It's like I don't give a fuck.
But now I'm starting to understand those older people that are like, like above 75 and 80, right? How real and raw that they be. They be like, look, you're gonna get this knowledge, or whatever they have to say, and they don't care.
You're gonna get what you came to get. You're gonna get what I've got. That's what you're gonna get.
Hey Gwendolyn.
Hey Gwendolyn, welcome.
Greetings to my favorite sisters. Hey Gwendolyn, welcome.
Love and light. Okay, I'm not even gonna go there right now, but yeah, my week was good. I want to talk about something that I was actually looking at today, but I kind of want to go back and talk about the social proof event that we went to last week that prevented us from going live. But what's funny is I looked at one of our clips, or actually I was watching part of our show from last week actually, and I recognized that I was like, we were like, oh yeah, we're not going to be able to make the we're not going to be able to make the the event in July because we're going to go to the Chris Brown concert, and we are still going to go to the Chris Brown concert, so let's not get that. But we realized that obviously we have to go to the podcast summit in July. Like, it's not. So we went to the event. Do you want to talk about how you what your experience was at the event?
Sure. So
sure.
I feel like, okay, so we went to, so for those of you that don't know what we're talking about,
there's bring it up.
Podcast called the Social Proof Podcast, and so they talk a lot about entrepreneurship. And there's David Shands, and then you have Donnie Wiggins, and she's a business coach. But they talk a lot about entrepreneurship and mindset and stuff like that, which goes into that. So they're having a podcast summit because they had one last year and it did really well. So they are having another one this year in July. But what David Shands is doing is he's doing a tour going around talking about how to start a podcast and also talking about the podcast summit. And so it was a good experience because it's like you see people talk on YouTube all the time, but I feel like that there was actual value in going to be in the room with him and being able to ask questions and being able to just be in the energy. The people that we met, you know what I mean? Yeah. The event was very good. He talked for about 3 hours. He made us do some exercises. He didn't just sit up there and talk though. He engaged the audience, you know what I mean? And he really does have, I don't know, this is like I said, he calls himself the podcast king, not because he thought that, but like people just started calling him that because he does know what he's doing. So this video right here, for people who actually follow me on Instagram, because I did get a couple of comments about people not being able to hear me, that was on purpose. I kind of like circumvented the whole little exercise he was trying to do. He made us go live to talk about our business, right? And he wanted us to talk for 2 minutes nonstop about a topic that we had previously written down in another exercise. And so we had to talk for 2 minutes. And then he wanted us to post it. And so in order for me, the whole point was to post imperfect content and stop, just get over yourself as far as like, oh, it has to be perfect. It has to be this, it has to be that. So I just went further into it and was like, well, let me go ahead and take the audio out and put some music to it. That's an imperfect video. Nobody can really hear whether I make sense or not. So that was just a little chuckle to myself of that I actually completed the activity, but even though I kind of cheated a little bit, but anyway, no, as far as that, like the event was really good. Like I said, I like the vibe and everything. And so I wasn't trying to go to the podcast summit, but he pretty much gave away the ticket. So it just makes sense because the podcast summit, for y'all that don't know, is going to have a lot of people there. I think Tasha K is even going to be there. There's going to be like, a bunch of different conversations going on. I think that even if you did not get to hear everything, just being in that arena, you never know who you might be able to collaborate with. So I feel like, it was a no-brainer. It's in Atlanta, right? It's in Atlanta.
It's going to be in Atlanta, July 4th and 5th, I think.
Yep. So, yeah. But anyway, I was excited to go. It wasn't like any other, like, those things that you go to. It's like, oh, let me go to this free event. There's going to be somebody there. Like, it was not like that. Like, even the whole setup. I can't remember the company of the place that they used to set up the LED screens and stuff, but it pretty much was just like this vacant room that they turned into, like, that shot right there looks like, it doesn't look like where it was. So I thought that was pretty cool how they elevated the room. And he's doing that on all his stops, I guess, or whatever. And I guess, I don't know. Maybe each spot looks different. I don't know. Now I'm rambling, but I thought it was a great event, and I can't wait to go to Podcast Summit. So
I agree. I think that, first of all, like, let me just start there. When we walked in, it was just a regular like, I wouldn't even call it an event space. It was like a little warehouse unit. Like, you could just have easily, it wasn't you know, decrepit or anything, but you could have just as easily just been stacking boxes in there. Like, you can see the walls and the ceiling in this shot. And this is JT from Homecoming the podcast in fourth quarter, just talking about what he, 5 business ideas. But that's what we all were tasked to do. And you can see in the background, like the AV equipment that Demeter Joe was just talking about. It's like you could see the industrial environment that we were in that was also transformed, because the floors, I didn't notice, but they were probably like concrete floors. Like, you could have just as easily just been doing like package orders in this room that we were in.
Can I say this though? That actually speaks to him teaching people how to start their podcast, because people often think that they need so many things before they can start a YouTube channel or a podcast. And he really did a good job of kind of showcasing we can have this podcast anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Even in this little empty like building. I mean, because it wasn't that big. It was a very intimate setting. But I feel like it was, he was just showing how it could be done. Right? You could do the same thing on another level with your podcast. Find you a little corner in your house, set up your little corner, get your camera and some lights, whatever. Right?
Absolutely. And what's interesting?
He did a good job with that. He's very good.
Yeah, he hired somebody there.
Like,
we do have a delay because I just heard you were sped up really fast. But okay, sorry guys, we have a delay. We'll be okay. But what was funny is like this, he's like touring different spaces, but the company who set this up, unfortunately, I do not remember which company set this up, and he was actually talking about how he didn't have a name for the space, and we called it The Spot, and we were like, you should take that, right? But he didn't. Okay, real talk, even though he did business here and I'm sure he collected a check, he didn't brand himself well enough for me to tell you where where to find him. But this is a it's a lesson for all of us, because it's like if he would have had a really good name, we wouldn't be able to stop it. Like when I went to that place the other week or whatever, other month, and I was like, we went here and this is the name and da da da. So there's a lesson for us all. But we had a good time. We're going to the podcast summit. I felt like I for one, I can only speak for myself. I was like, nothing's going to stop me from seeing Chris Brown. And while that is still true, I did put something else above the Chris Brown concert, because I was like, Chris Brown's not going to necessarily like make me money yet until we sign that contract. Right. But before that point, I'm going to invest in myself. So I was like, oh yeah, duh. And it's so funny because I didn't shout out to Shans, because I didn't go there expecting to like buy anything or spend money on anything. But this is a good lesson for you, Shans. I'm gonna send this message to you. Let's just take this off screen. Let's make this loud and clear. You made an offer. I knew you were gonna make an offer. Okay, let's get that straight. Yeah. I knew you were going to make an offer. I was prepared for you to make an offer and for me to decline. I came there so that I could hear what you had to say, which, because we love hearing you speak. We wanted Donnie to be there, but we understand, but we knew you were going to make an offer. I personally was thinking that, can't speak for you, Demita, but I was thinking that like, he's going to make an offer. I'm not going to, jump on the offer tonight. However, his offers are good. I've purchased one. We've purchased his offers, and they're good. They're good. They're valuable. They're more valuable than the cost. So that's good. He's doing good business. But I'm just saying this. This is the part. I knew you would make an offer. Yeah. I was prepared for that. I was prepared to decline the offer. However, we were there to support and express camaraderie, gratitude,
and to talk about Neevage.
The Neevage. We wanted to celebrate the Neevage. But also, I was prepared, for the offer, and just like, okay, not today. But the discount that you offered made it a no-brainer. It was like, well, okay. And then this is just sincerity of just like having us do an exercise and us getting to meet those people in the room in our own community. Well, that was amazing to me. And hear some of their stories. I'm like, oh, these people are right amongst us, right? It's just like, we're occupying the same roads. And and I was like, wow, this is pretty dope. Like, we're all here, we're all watching this guy, because we all understand there's value here. But like, to think about the people that were in the room, I felt like I was in good company.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was really cool. So shout out to them. If y'all don't already follow the Social Proof Podcast, make sure you follow the Social Proof Podcast. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. We'll revisit it in a couple months when we go to Podcast Summit.
Yes, I'll just share the screen one more time. I'm not like we're doing any promo for them or whatever. Like, we're not getting paid, but this is the thing that is going to be happening. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take that
Where's
off.
that picture that he showed? Because the one that he showed, it got Tasha K on there, and I'm interested to see what she's going to be saying. Go back up a little bit. Oh no, that's not
the Podcast Summit. But you know what?
It is.
I bet
go to Shane's page.
Yeah, I bet it's on his channel. So
that show looks so cozy right there. The way that shot was.
The one that he had on the screen when we were there.
Mm-hmm. Nah, the one he had on the screen when we was there. I don't know
what you're talking about.
I saw it somewhere, but I can't remember where I saw it at. But that right there looks a little cozy. He had the little whiteboard out there. I was like, okay, you would not be able to tell that that's where it was. The lighting and stuff. It was the screens. I don't know.
Is this where we were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a curtain right there, a rug. So he did.
Oh yeah, this was us.
Yeah. So I think that was really interesting how they set it up. Like, it doesn't really look bad, but he told them to turn the lights on because as a content creator, you're gonna need to turn the lights on so I can use this footage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that's everybody doing their exercise. He made us hand our phone to the person beside us that was our partner, and they had to record us with our phone talking about our business. And it was we got put on the spot there. There we are. Yep. We got put on the spot, but it was everybody did it. Nobody was like, "Oh, I'm not doing it." You know how you had those situations where people just be like, "I'm not participating." Everybody participated. So it was pretty cool. It was shout out. Yeah, shout out to Shane's. Anyway, we've talked about that.
We've talked about that, everyone. Okay, on to the next one, because honestly, there's a lot. Oh, this isn't even. Let me stop sharing. This isn't even what we're talking about. There's a lot happening, and we're gonna have to revisit some topics. I know what I want to end on. So we're not gonna go there yet. Is this something that I want to talk about right now? Oh, no. Okay, no, that was having to do with the podcast summit. This lady was just making this point that, like, if you don't have a podcast, understand that Suge Knight has a podcast and the audio sucks. And have you ever heard these snippets from Suge Knight's podcast? I think I have. I think he tells these stories and stuff, and it's like, oh, these are stories from the desk of Suge Knight, even though we know he's in jail. But
I mean, dude's making albums from jail now too.
But the thing is, he's doing a podcast. We have all the equipment and freedom to do podcasts. I feel
like everybody that has, at least the people who are entrepreneurs, definitely should have a podcast. I feel like people who have who are great storytellers, like you know those people that they could just tell a story. Like, yeah. I think those people should have podcasts. I mean, shoot, if you feel like you like to talk, you should have a podcast. Just see what happens. But definitely entrepreneurs, because that's another way to connect with your audience or whatever. And I just started my podcast, even though I've had it for a while. I've not really. After that, I was like, okay, I've been messing around with this podcast thing, because I was just like, okay, well, I'll just consider this on YouTube my podcast, right? But then I was like, no, because I listen to stuff sometimes that doesn't have any video. It's just audio and somebody is just talking about something. So I was like, well, maybe I do need to do that. So I went ahead and I uploaded my first episode. I don't really understand how everything works yet, but I will in a couple of months.
I'm sure there's people out there who understand less than you, and they could probably have quite a few podcasts uploaded. So you'll be fine.
Yeah. So, but then the one thing that I'm kind of confused about is like, do I take my audio from my videos and upload it to the podcast, or do I like record separate episodes for the podcast? Like, how does that work? Because if how I did the first episode, well, I'm pretty sure it was so archaic, and I shouldn't have probably did it like that. But I like played the video on the iPad and I recorded the podcast on the phone like I was in 1995.
No, I think that's what people appreciate. All right, let me just be real with you. When I'm listening to a podcast in my ears only, I want as much audio context as I can possibly get. Imagine you were blind, right? And you're being told a story. I want every detail that I can imagine, that I can absorb. And so it's like that's what a podcast is. So like the pauses, the breaths, the laughs, the put that back in there, close the door, whatever that is like a part of the personality, the character of the podcast. It's like sometimes when I'm watching planner videos, because that's my thing, I'll see like you'll hear like somebody's kid screaming in the background like, Mom, I want a grilled cheese sandwich. And then it's like a hard cut. It's like, it's like,
yeah, you might hear 2K, somebody playing PlayStation or screaming at a PlayStation.
Yeah, and it's like, and then they cut real hard and they'd be like, hi guys, I just came back. It's been 2 days. It's like so funny to me, but
that's what I'm saying. Are they recording those? Are they just sitting down specifically saying, I'm going to talk to the podcast people? Like, should it be different from what's
No, I don't think so. I think it should. I think people who are now like, okay, I think we're in a new era of content consumption. I think I think we're moving away from the more produced content like offerings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more like, I want to hear some real shit. Like, I want to be moved. I want to, you know what I mean? Like, I want to talk to somebody who understands the way that I think, my dark sense of humor, my dorkiness, my judgmental, whatever. Like you're looking for specific things from people who you're consuming content from. It's not the same old TGIF. You know what I mean? It's not the same old, I'll just watch what's on. I can hand select. So it's like, I need certain things I can choose from other elements than were offered previously. So it's like, yeah, like I think that podcasts are like that, because it's like, you're not gonna, you know what? We just learned this last week. You're not gonna necessarily download somebody's podcast. I don't think I download podcasts. I think I listen to them online. Like, I don't think anybody downloads anything. Yeah, I download PDFs. That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people download things anymore.
I subscribe to podcasts.
Yeah, but I don't download. Sometimes when I'll see like on our ISIC train, like, oh, you got 15 downloads. It's like, what? What's a download? What's downloading this? You know what I mean? But so to answer your question though, you could take the audio from your video, and that's just exactly what it, what it is. That's what podcasts are made of. It's just whatever, and a lot of times you could just not even go the extra mile, but like just include all of the background stuff. And where you might edit for YouTube because it's visual, you wouldn't do that for a podcast. Like, podcasts are almost like I don't know, it's like
I mean, but in the video I'm editing my audio, right?
So you would upload the edited audio. But I wouldn't even do that. I think I would let.
Well, I mean, you're talking about, I'm talking and I'm saying, oh no, I don't want to put that. No, I got to cut that out. No, okay, so I can just show
people like that.
Nobody needs to. Oh, if I say something 2 or 3 times or whatever, like, nobody's gonna want to listen to a podcast where you're not even getting to the point because you keep fucking up.
Well, that's like something different that you would offer. That's the behind the scenes footage, and people would like that. People would like that. People want to know that they're listening to a real human being and not a bot. And so I think that's the thing that is really popular, becoming more popular, is the imperfections.
I gotta explore that further.
Listen, upload some stuff that
I'm talking on the video. I'm just talking, right? But the reason why I would have cut it out of the videos because either I may have mispronounced the word and then I said it over and then the oven thing started beeping and then I might have cussed out the dog. I don't know.
But those are the things that make up like bloopers. I've watched videos where it's like the bloopers are at the end.
So let me rephrase my question, because what I'm trying to figure out is what's the easiest way to do this without having to edit different things, right? And if I'm going to, but I still want it to be valuable and have people be able to take away from it. Like I'm not going to listen to somebody that doesn't keep talking, that they have long periods of silence, that they have to you know what I'm saying? I don't, my attention span is not going to do.
So if you're going to produce like a 45-minute podcast, you're going to just basically take whatever from, here's what I would suggest. You talked for an hour and a half, right, on your video, and then you're like, I want to take the top high level most valuable takeaways, and I want to put them together like an Evan Carmichael video or something. And then it's just like all of these bomb like like thoughts sequence together, drawn together, and that's what I would put out as the podcast. Because then it's like, okay, people are going to do the podcast. So like they're invested in the podcast before they click on it. There's certain things we watch that are like, oh my gosh, this is an hour and a half. Oh my God, this is 3 hours. I'm going to watch it though. It's like those people have your trust. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, whatever you have here, I'm willing to invest my time in because I've typically gotten value. So I think whatever you think is valuable is valuable. I mean, because you gotta think about.
I mean, because I'm thinking about when I get my setup like I want, I'll be using my mic, right? And I'll be talking into the microphone versus like trying to record with the video. But I think that I'm gonna play with both of them. I'm gonna try to see how it works for me to upload the video from the podcast. But then I feel like, from the YouTube. But I feel like if somebody was following me on YouTube, like I would want to also have them have a benefit of following me on the podcast, because I'll be talking about stuff. Maybe I'll do it in a more candid way, like you were saying or whatever. But maybe it's not the same thing I'm talking about. Because I'm thinking if I'm trying to give you 4 points about something and I take a minute to get to it or whatever, that kind of takes away from the 4 points. So if I'm doing a video like that, I would want that audio to just be whatever was on the video. But if I'm just talking through something, I feel like that would be more podcast related, because I'm just like, maybe I'm doing a brain dump and I'm talking about random subjects, right?
I even think that's more valuable, though. I think that's more valuable because we get snippets of things. And a lot of times when I'm taking in information from a podcast, it's hard for me to take in like dense, like packed together information. I need some repetition. I need some breaks in there so that I can, even sometimes I'll pause something and be like, and repeat the words like this, just so that I can absorb it. So it's like a lot of times, even if you're giving like nuggets, like gems, you can't just take a bunch of gems like locked up like that, like in a barrel. Like you need some sort of like, like something to break it up, like some repetition or something. And I think a lot of times what we used to love when we would watch those movies, and especially in the 90s, we used to love those like blooper reels at the end. And people do them sometimes in their videos or their.
I used to do those in my RIT videos.
And it's like something fun. It just like connects you to the person. And I honestly do think, I've been watching Charlene Johnson. I've been watching some others, but it does make sense. And especially with what we're going to talk about at the end, this Beyoncé album. I think it's time for us to take it back to say like, like show me that you're human. Like, it's like, show me that you're not a bot. Like everything can't be so information packed. It's got to be some humanity in there. It's got to be like somebody laughing or a sigh or something that's like, oh, I couldn't pronounce that word. It's a blooper, right?
Well, I think we're talking about. I would have to probably show you a different example, because I definitely I'm not the person that would be like, get your pen and paper and I go over everything without putting in some type of humor or whatever, right? Like, I 9 times out of 10, I will keep certain mistakes in, and I use that on my RATV videos. But I'm just trying to figure out, like, I want the podcast to be something in addition to and not a duplicate of, if that makes sense. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't want just the same content posted on every platform.
Right. So I'm trying to think. You have a good point, though, because I want to lean towards the authenticity. I want to lean towards. So maybe the podcast will be more like, like real talk versus, you know, I don't know.
Like
I gotta get that.
more produced like content, like like these
Yeah,
are the four things that'll get you there, type of thing.
yeah. And if
You
you're
know
somebody
what? But you
that,
have time. You have time to think about it, and
yeah, if you're somebody who's watching this video and you like podcasts, put in the comments below why you watch the podcasts that are your top three. I would
yep.
like to know. So
I would like that too. I find myself thinking about that when I'm watching other content. Like I was watching this video
I got something to show you too.
from her what's her name, Layla Hermosi. She's been interviewed by Sean Cannell and Think Media, and she said one of those cliche terms like make the content, create the content you want to consume. And I was like really into it, however she had set it up. I was like really into that concept, and I was like, yeah, it just meant something different to me than previously when I've heard it. It's like, yeah, create the content you want to consume. Like we've all heard that before, but anyway.
I know, but listen, a lot of these things that people consider cliche, if you really like repeat it to yourself and actually try to like hear it instead of like just disregard it because it's something that you're supposed. Yo, the shit really is that simple with some stuff.
Hello.
But look, I just want to show you this real quick because I'm so excited because yesterday I couldn't figure out how to get my podcast to show up on Apple. I tried to submit this. I feel like I tried to submit this last year and it was still in a draft status. And I'm like, what the hell? So I was able to get it to show up. It's called Self-Care Revolution. Okay.
Yes.
This is me. Let me go to my thing. Let me see. Yeah, it's called Self-Care Revolution.
I love that.
Red spot, it says women over 40. But anyway, if you are a woman over 40 and you would like to, you like to listen to podcasts, be talking about a lot of the things that women over 40 encounter as they're aging and have to focus with, because hormones have a lot to play with it, do with it too. And just talking about, pretty much how it is to be a woman over 40. It could encompass a lot of stuff because, self-care is my thing. So anyway, find me on Apple, Spotify. That sounds good to say. It's called Self-Care Revolution. All right. Anyway.
I'm looking for it right now so I can put it on the damn.
Let me know what you see when you search for it, because that's what I want to know.
Well, look, we have a lot of. I think this is it right here. No,
it should be me in red.
Look, I'm gonna find it. I don't want to. Like, I knew I was.
Okay, well, you let me know because I want to know how to tell people to find it.
No, that's good. I'm gonna find the link for it, but I don't have it up right now. But I will.
Okay.
All right, but in the meantime, I'm gonna go to this next story, which is. Oh wait, it's already up here. I'm laughing at myself. So we actually went to the harbor.
Oh, I saw this. You sent me this update.
Yeah, this is I don't even know who runs this thing, but this man is going around pointing out all of the businesses, right, that are like Black owned, and we pass by some of these businesses all the time. We actually went out here for our anniversary because we love to go to this one restaurant out there, and I didn't even know about some of these places. Some of these places I did know about though. Oh, is that a Black franchise? We go there all the time. The Ben & Jerry's. And I know where the Vino, the harbor is, and that's owned by a Black woman, actually.
That's what's up.
Yeah, but I
love Brookie Girl.
I haven't been there.
Oh, you're going to love it. It's the body butter and stuff. Oh, and the story of that is good, too. Me and Earl went there for Christmas one time.
I love it. Well, I just love that all these Black businesses are out here.
Like, okay, all right, I got to go to the harbor. I gotta go.
Hello. It's a good time. And I love the way that this show was so long. Like, it's so many things that I didn't even realize were Black businesses out there. So I was really excited to see this. Yeah. I love just putting shine on stuff like that because it's just like, as Black people, we're so brilliant. I just don't, I don't know how to say it, guys. It is what it is. Anyway. Speaking of Black brilliance, I'll share this. I was just talking to one of my coworkers today, and they put me onto the fact that Jasmine Sullivan, Maxwell, and I don't even know who October London is. I'm sorry, everybody. Of course, somebody out there is really a big fan, but I don't even know who this man is.
Who that is either.
Uh, again, oh,
I don't know. Maybe somebody will come back in the
it's
comments and
like
let us know who
no,
October
just
is.
the fact. No, I don't think I know who this is, which is fine because he could probably sing because he's on the tour with two singers. So singers. But anyway, Maxwell and Jasmine Sullivan are touring this season. I was like, oh, I didn't even realize there's so many tours happening. I'm just gonna give shout outs to everybody because we're obviously not going to be able to make them all, but all the people who I love. And then I found out that the R&B podcast or the R&B Money podcast, they're doing a tour this
Really?
year with Carrie Hilson and
Are they singing or they doing their podcast?
I think they're doing singing because it's Carrie Hilson and Carl Thomas.
Oh, shoot.
I said, what? Carl Thomas. Carl Thomas is a beast, and Carrie Hilson is a beast as well. So I don't even have any link for that. But those are people that are just out there doing their thing. So I'm grateful for that. Other music news is Willow Smith is actually, you know what? I have this love for Willow Smith because we all see her parents are a mess. And we love them both. You know what I mean? Like we all love them both. But like for her to be this much of a like musical prodigy, I was looking, this was on her page like maybe a week ago. Oh, it was 4 days ago. But she plays all these instruments and she can sing and scat and she can write. And I'm just so happy like to just be, like able to support her because she's just such a wise young woman. She's plays all these instruments, which is really cool because I didn't know that, but she's really musically talented, extremely musically talented. So I really am, looking at whatever she has coming out. One of the things that we cannot forget is that when she came out with "Whip My Hair," we were adults, and that song rocked. And I was like, the nerve of
even some of the go-go bands was hitting that joke.
With the nerve of this young lady to show up on the club scene at 10. I was just thinking that definitely crossed my mind one drunken night. I was like, I was waiting for this song to come on and this little girl can't even get in the club. And I said, oh my God, what a wonderfully talented human being to be 10. I don't even know how old she was at the time. She might have even been younger. She might have been like 8.
You're right, though. She was
I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair back and forth. And people I was one of them. I am people. I was on that floor whipping my hair back and forth. You dig? That was a good song.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Anyway, so moving on. This young man, I didn't even watch this whole thing because this is one of those like bullying stories where, luckily we didn't see anybody get beat up this time. But this young man was getting bullied, and there's this group of people who make sure that type of thing doesn't happen. So that's one of these. Just wanted to give some love because it's actually a group of men of color. So I wanted to give some love to that because I've not seen this group before. They're called the what is it? They're called like some anti-bully group. I wish I could remember their name.
They pulled up in trucks?
They pulled up in trucks and basically they're these like macho men. They're called the anti-bully gang. That's what they're called. And they just show up to places when things like this happen. When this young man obviously, comes out and he's probably getting bullied normally. And then he, this is like pretty cool in my opinion. Like what a great thing to do with your afternoon, right? Like, yeah. Like these men came out and they took pictures, and I'm sure that, it's something like so simple like this. And I think this is what we miss sometimes as human beings. It's like something so simple as just showing up for another human being, just being there to be like, hey, I'm here with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I see you. It's something so simple like that that can change somebody's life. But anyway, the fact that these men are showing up in numbers like this to help young people get through tough situations, like he could have easily, yeah, I'm sure he's been going through things for a while, but the fact that they took it out of their day to show up, I think this is like such a worthwhile activity.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's positive. So
yeah, I just want to give a shout out to these people because it's things like that like basically make people's lives better. And what else could you be doing better? I don't think there's much.
What was their name? You say anti-bully gang?
Anti-bully gang, yeah. And I'll try to find their link because I thought I had their link, but I don't see it in my notes. But anyway, okay, here's somebody else on the internet. Now listen, let me tell you something about Tabitha Brown. Anytime she comes out with something, I'm going to buy one. And last time I didn't
popcorn last
no, I didn't get my hands on it, and I can tell you why.
Okay.
Because your brother-in-law is a hater. Your brother-in-law likes to walk behind me in the stores to tell me, or beside me to tell me that I have whatever I want. Like, oh, you already have one of those. You don't need that. Oh, don't put that in the basket because you already have one of those. Oh,
that
you
must
already
be
have.
So irritating to you.
Oh, it is a guys. Listen, it's a sacrifice, but I didn't get the popcorn last time, and everybody talked about how good the popcorn was. Even her eating the popcorn in this.
So you saw it at your Target?
I did. I saw it at my Target because I got all the other
stuff. Made you
stuff.
take that out of the basket? Oh. See, they didn't even have it in my Target. I went over there. I even asked a couple of times, and sometimes, a bunch of the times that I asked, they were like, "What? Who's Tabitha Brown?" And I was like, "Y'all carry her stuff."
They were buying it.
At the time, she had clothes in there too, but I never saw it on the shelves ever. They had their own brand in there, but I was like, "No, I need the Tabitha Brown one."
So they knew they had it, and I don't believe those people. I think they actually had it.
So tell me, how do you know this?
Because when you work in a store, you get the inventory. Like maybe they get.
But what if that Target never got shipped in?
What? So you're not in the Boondocks?
I went in there.
How do you explain this? Your Target is about 15 minutes away from my Target.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Even when I was trying to order it, it was all sold out everywhere. So Target didn't even have it. Like my Target never got it. And the person that I asked that didn't know, he was a little kid. Not a little kid, but he was young. So I was like, whatever. He should know what they have, right? But I just don't see me not ever seeing one bag as much as I'm in Target.
I don't know how that happened, but I do recall your mother one Christmas asking someone at the Best Buy, like, "Oh,
for a PlayStation, yeah,
you get a shipment between now and tomorrow."
But there was some in the store before. Now nobody had seen it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and then when I looked online, it was not shipped to every Target, but it also sold out immediately. So that's why I was like, I don't believe that it was there, and they.
Well, maybe they sold it. Like I don't know.
No, they did not get it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I commented on her thing. I was like, I hope my Target gets it. Like, even let me.
Where's all the popcorn? It's like either they sold it to another store, right? Because it's like I do remember from working at the Macy's that like after things were there for a certain amount of time, they would sell them to another store, like a third-hand store or whatever. But this wasn't even there, so maybe they sold it or maybe they never got it in. But
I remember looking up a whole bunch of stuff about this because when I didn't see it there when she first said it came out, I went online to get it. And then it was sold out. I don't know. So she said next year is going to be in there all year long. So they must, whatever batch they had, they must not have had any more. Because even last year she posted, y'all sold that food out so fast, but next year's going to be all year long.
Well, I hope she's getting paid for this stuff. That's all I care about.
What? She better be.
Yeah, because she's listen, I'm ready to stand up and buy.
I want to taste it. I've never tasted it. I feel slighted. So
I want, and she's selling this shit. I want some of this popcorn.
Right. And
Okay.
then that's the
Anyway.
thing. She was the one buying all of the stuff in her area, I bet. Because every time I turned around, she had a post talking about, so what? I bought these multiple bags.
Well, I would have brought them too. I
Me
don't think she's
too.
around, so I want to. But anyway, all right, we're 45
Well, I'm
minutes
gonna
in.
be on the lookout. So
We're gonna have to get into some of the dramatic events of the week. This is not even normally we cover Black news, but because both of us follow this man and because he's a prominent figure in the internet space, I think we have to talk about this, but it's part of a larger conversation around integrity and how we put people on a pedestal sometimes. But anyway, if you haven't heard, I was told by your brother-in-law that Dr. Andrew Huberman apparently was cheating on his girlfriend or something of the sort, or he was dating multiple women. Now, first of all, let me ask you, how do you feel about that as a statement? What's your reaction to that? So,
disappointing, but I am in my, I'm learning that people have different aspects to them, right? And people also are constantly evolving, right? So I feel like that's one side of him. He still has great information for working out and sleep, and he interviews great guests. I am disappointed in him though.
so my this is what's unfortunate. My initial reaction, and this is something that I probably have to think about. It's like, well, is it true? Then I realized that when I said that, I was like, well, does it matter to me if it's true? That brought up a whole nother level because it was like, he's not a married man. And I thought to myself, well, what if he was lying to someone? So first of all, that's not where I started. I was like, what if this was a misunderstanding? And then I was like, what if he misled someone? Like, right, it came from misunderstanding to mislead. And then I was like, well, what if he flat out lied? What if he's not the person that I thought he was? And then that got me onto a whole nother tangent. Because then I realized that the people that I follow, I trust at a certain level. So I got to talking to James about this because I was like, there's certain people who like maybe I've listened to for a long time that are consistently valuable, and then I assign them this level of trust. And within that level of trust, there's all these expectations built in. Because then it's like, some people aren't even with us any longer, like Earl Nightingale, or you know what I mean? It's like I love Earl Nightingale. It's like, there's like very little that I've heard from Earl Nightingale that I wasn't already on board with. It's like I'll just drink that up. It's like, oh, Earl Nightingale, teach me, Earl Nightingale. It's like I don't even question whether he's saying the truth or not because I've heard so much that I felt like, oh, well, he's obviously going to just give the real, right? And then I realized that like people like Andrew Huberman fall into certain categories after you hear them enough, or like even like, let's say a Tom Billy or a David Shands. It's like after you hear them enough, or a Donnie Wiggins, even more powerful than a David Shands. As a Black woman, it's like you hear this person give enough truth and enough value, and then you like sort of assign them a category or a level of trust, even though and I'm not saying you, but even though you're not necessarily sure that they have that level of integrity, you've assigned it to them because they've provided this amount of value. So then I wondered to myself, and this was a self-check, because I was like, do I even care? Like, do I care for him to explain this? I don't care for him to explain this. I don't think that either I would believe him, or I don't even think he would really offer it. I mean,
well, let me ask you a question though.
Yeah.
What is it? How does it affect the information that you were going to him for?
That's what it does it. But at the same time, I was like, should it? Like, I trust him to tell me the truth about brain science, about neurology. Like,
Mhm.
I trust him to tell me the truth about what he's learned in the science of sociology and
Mhm.
psychology and all that. I trust him to break it down for me in a way where it's common conversation level understanding, and it's not all you know lab talk or diagnoses. And I do trust him for that. That he's been consistent with that.
Mhm.
He hasn't broken any promises there. And that's when I was like, do I need him to clean this up? Because like,
Right.
I was like, right. I was like, do I need him to clean this up for me? Like, this isn't good.
I
But
mean, cause okay,
go
sorry.
ahead, say
No,
it.
I was just thinking like, in terms of like, say it's your doctor, right? You have a doctor, and you find out that your doctor is cheating on his wife. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? But he's a great doctor. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
Does like, or like, because you work with people every day, you have people, that you never know how many arguments they have with their spouse, or whether they cheated or not. It just may not have come out. But like, at the root of it all, I think people need to ask themselves, how does it affect me, and how does it affect the information I was getting from them? Because yeah, if you were scamming people about whatever, then maybe I need to know about that. But like, I feel like
Hmm.
if it's something personal, like what goes on in their bedroom, I feel like shit. You got. That's ugly. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But I didn't need to know that. And yeah, it's gonna affect some people's, thought of you. But like, for real, it's just kind of like, ugh, I feel bad that that happened. I still respect the education that you have and the things.
Yeah.
But now it is gonna be subjective though, because if you're like a relationship coach and you get caught cheating, well, that's definitely gonna affect you because that is what your job is. You know what I'm saying? Or a pastor. A pastor is in another situation.
I know, but like,
Everything.
where does the line get drawn? Because
Because I mean, well, a pastor, because he's advising people on their lives, pretty
relationships.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's why those particular jobs would be compromised by their integrity. You know what I'm saying? But like, if you got a teacher that, let's just say the teacher, let's just say the teacher got put out of his house, right, by his girlfriend, right? And he had to sleep in his car before he came to work. And one of the students like saw that his wife came and dumped all his clothes in the car. Like, does that directly affect his job? Maybe, because he's he's got it coming to the job. But like, at the end of the day, like, he still can teach math. He's at work on time. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate, and and because it's out there, people are gonna consume it. Like, that's the world we live in. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really change who the person is. Like, this is why people who get outed as scammers like kind of get to go on and on, because you know they're just finding new groups of people to hoodwink. So that's how scammers get over. But that's the culture we live in, though. Like, so it's like sometimes you have to really ask yourself, does this have anything to do with the information?
What I'm here for.
And
That's
is
really
it
what it
gonna matter? Because if you hadn't found out, what would you would have kept going? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's subjective though. It depends on what it is.
you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Because normally I'm like, integrity is integrity is integrity. I do believe that. But at the same time, it's like, if your integrity is falling down in every area of your life, then you should consider some changes. Like, you should consider some changes wherever it feels bad. But like, for this man, I feel like, if he was cheating, I don't know anything about that. But if he still has integrity in what he's
You're
offering
just gonna
me,
own it.
then if he still has integrity and I still find him to hold integrity in what I've been offered by him, which is not the peen. Like, I literally love his information. You know what I'm saying? I love the way that he breaks down the
So
things.
that's what listen. Because here's what I think, though. I think that people pay more attention to the salaciousness of stuff
Yeah.
versus does it really matter. You're grabbing something to judge somebody on, not maybe not intentionally, but it's like, otherwise, are you expecting the person to be perfect? No, you're just expecting the
Right.
person to contain their drama, pretty much, right? Because he should know, of all people, you're not even of all people, but I feel like he's been out here enough to know how he should have been moving, and you know, I don't know, but
Yeah, and so I agree. I'll pick it up right there. He's been out here long enough to know how he should have been moving. We'll see if this impacts his sort of status in any realm. But
People
yeah,
probably in his DMs right now.
I'm so certain. You know, really, the value for him, in my opinion, has not lowered. Like, I'm still going to listen to what he says about brain science. I like, you know, and also here's the thing that I was talking to James about is that, like, I don't know who came out with that story. I don't know who told that truth about, you know, whoever truth that was, like that he cheated on them or he was dating multiple women. I don't know what his situation was with those multiple women, but I'm not trying to take up for him either. I think it's completely possible that he was out here in these streets. But my thing is, like, that's not what I'm using him for, so he still has value to me. And the idea
I mean,
that
because at
that
what point do you throw a whole person away off of one aspect? Because like there's certain aspects of all of our lives that people aren't so proud of. Like there might be somebody who's like, you know, continuously written up at work, but they're just barely keeping their job, right? They don't want everybody to know that, or they may not be able to pay their rent this month. They don't want everybody to know that. Like it's like, you know, what as you people pick one aspect and then kind of judge people on that, and that's where the cancel culture came from, because it's like, okay,
yeah,
it does depend on what the person did, but I feel like this is a regular life fuck up that doesn't have anything to do with his particular information. But however, if he was a pastor, then it would be different
yeah,
because his integrity is on the line. You know what I'm saying? So
agree.
it's just like you said, like how valuable, like how does it affect me, and does it affect the truth of whatever information he was given, right?
Yeah. And I don't think it does. I really don't. It's like, you know, unfortunately to whoever, if she's telling the truth and that's what happened to these young ladies or this young lady, you know, more power to you. You'll find a way. But as for me, I'm gonna go ahead and finish listening to whatever. And I hope that doesn't have like a
Poor
negative
Andrew.
impact. All right, for you.
I am
Like,
going to be looking for details though, because I the nosy side of me would like to know what's going on, but you know.
and look, I don't know who is this his quote. The only thing that you can truly control is where you place your attention and where you place your effort. That's the truth, guys. That's really that. I mean, like, can we deny these things? You know, it's like, you know, what do you want me to do here, lady? And then another thing is, okay, this is not what I came here to say, everyone. But I like to think that when you're getting cheated on, you kind of know. I don't know. And not every that's not the case for everybody. It's
I
not.
mean, yeah, because you know, you might be more astute than somebody else. I've known people who just did not know or refused to believe what was happening, but those kind of realizations, I feel it's best to let people come to on their own if they're not somebody that's close to me. I'm not getting in that, you know, in that kind of.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm good.
I redact my hat, everyone. It's like you didn't hear that. All right, on to the next story.
Oh my god!
Look, okay,
Really?
that was my quote. You know what's funny? It's like I forgot that I had commented on this post. But
Yeah,
you
I
know,
didn't even. When did you send me this? Because I don't. I
I
need to
sent
check
you
my.
this a few days ago. Oh, actually, this was a post from March 17th.
Are you
And
serious?
but I didn't send it to you until
Okay.
like maybe like a
Say
week ago. Here's
CBS
what
signs
happened.
$2 billion deal with Dave Chappelle for new late night show. Really? Is
No,
this
not
real?
really. No, so I
This is
couldn't
on April
find
Fool's. No,
any
you said this was in
traction
March.
online, and this is what I want to bring this up for. Because when I saw this, I was like, really? Oh, I need to go and confirm it. And something in me was like, I need somebody like Yahoo or Google or I don't know, some news station, New York Post, New York Times, Washington Times, somebody confirmed this story for me and I couldn't find anything. And I was like, why can't I find anything? This is ridiculous. They don't want to report on this. And then I was like, oh, then that's when I considered that like maybe the story isn't real. So I don't know if the story is real or not, but I couldn't find anything
I was
to
about to say April
back it
Fool's.
up. And
You
this
said
is
it was
my
before
comment
now.
over here, everybody, with the lady with the I was like, look, because I was like, are you sure? And it's like, this is, I'm not trying to throw anybody out there, but like, unfortunately, when you just repost, and I've been guilty of this before, when you just repost
Oh
or
yeah.
something and you haven't read into it or heard it or looked it up, this is how misinformation gets spread. I hope this is not misinformation, because a lot of people were commenting like, good for him, and I'm so glad he deserves this. He deserves this type of deal. And I was like, man, I hope this is real, but I couldn't find anything to prove it. So I don't think
we're basically saying this is not confirmed. Somebody just posted.
Correct. This is not confirmed, but somebody put it out there, and I saw it on 3 people's channels. I saw it on 3 people's channels, and I was trying to find
it. Doing that with the movie posts too, like certain movies they be thinking coming out and it's not. Somebody just started circulating a picture.
So if anybody out there knows that this is a real story and they have a real link to like a real news story, please share it with us, because I really want this to be the truth. But if it's not, whatever. I'm looking for the real truth. What were you gonna say?
No, I wanted to make sure it said billion and not million.
Correct. It says billion, because like 2 million doesn't even make the news anymore. He got a $2 million deal. No, I think Monique made headlines a few years ago because she wanted like what the other girl got. What's her name?
Amy Schumer.
Yeah, she wanted like 11 million or 14 million or something like that. So Dave Chappelle is more, I would think he's more he's more marketable than Monique.
Yeah.
I would think. I don't know that for sure. Anyway,
yeah, I think so.
Look, I'm getting closer and closer to the final story, but one thing I want to point out is these young ladies here. Now, here's the thing about being a Black woman. We all remember these people. We all remember these faces. Okay, we could name them. I don't think I know their names though, but
I never knew their names.
Let's just go back to these, because one of my best friends in the world, Larry Boggs, was on a it wasn't a Just For Me. It was like a Just For Men or whatever, like a box of hair dye. And I remember every time I would go to the Walmart and I would see him on there, I would laugh because I'm like, look at Larry. These girls, this is why I know we haven't covered this story, or I don't think we have. Maybe we have, I don't know. But if not, we're going back over it. But there was a girl that I used to work with at Longhorn in Atlanta who she told me she did like $1,000 deal with some hair company, like, let's just, whatever perm company. And they paid her like, $1,000 for every time they use her picture. So they used it online, then they used it on the box, then they used it on a commercial. So she got $3,000. Not every box they sold, but every time, like every lane they used her picture in. So she was like so excited, because we lived in Atlanta. We were getting $5 tips in 2002. And she was so excited, like, oh my God, I got a hair box, opportunity. And they paid her like $3,000. And she was like so excited. And it's a pretty big deal. But like, I do remember some of these girls. Like I remember this girl right here on the left top. Yeah. I remember seeing her. And then I remember seeing this girl on the left bottom. And I feel like I remember this girl in the middle, but nobody's bangs can look like that. Like, I think that was AI before AI existed. But look, so this is why I'm bringing this up, because these are regular ass people who have decided like to put their
That's funny.
So cool. So they all like chimed in online. This is the value of social media, people.
Right.
The fact that somebody can be like, hey, that was me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we all saw these women. We were all like rooting for them. I kind of remember her too. But I love this post. I've lived for posts like this. It's like, that's the stuff that the internet is supposed to be for.
Yeah, I approve of that. Yes.
All right, we got 2 more stories. The first one is something that you said you had never been to, but people are really taking their time to weigh in on this Freaknik documentary. You said you never went to Freaknik.
Yeah, I think that by the time I was about to go, it was already about to be over. When did it end? Do you remember when they canceled?
No, it had to end 1999.
Oh, well.
You know why I think that, and maybe I'm wrong, but
Well, it would have been available to me, but I don't remember going. Let's see if
I
I'm on
don't
camera. I don't I don't remember going.
I don't even know when it started, honestly. But when I got to Atlanta, to college in Atlanta, they were like, Freaknik just ended like in the last year or two because there was a bunch of stuff happening outdoors that they didn't feel like should be happening outdoors, like the city. When I say they, it's like they shut down Freaknik because it was like, oh, there's things happening outdoors and we're not okay with this, so we're just going to shut the whole thing down. Here's what I'm getting. I have not watched the Hulu documentary, but here's what I'm getting from like sort of the internet streets. Um, it's being heralded as like as like a time in history, like the civil rights movement or something. And sometimes people don't like stuff like that, but at the same time, like it's got its own place in Black culture, where there's the whole Two Live crew and Luke and all them, and we celebrate them. So like I can understand why this would be something that you would celebrate. Like it's Freaknik. We all know what it was.
You're right. It was 1999 that it ended. I didn't get to go. Your mother wasn't having that.
Nah, I don't think so either. When I went to
I did go to
Atlanta,
Bike Week though. I did go to Bike Week. Black
oh,
Bike.
where was that?
That was after I became an adult though. I was because I remember it was right before I must have been like 23. Because I remember me and one of my friends from work that we used to like hang out together. We drove down there. It was fun though. I could only imagine how crazy Freaknik was.
Look, I don't know where this is from, but this looks like Freaknik to me. A bunch of people just hanging out in a park. It's about music. It's about hanging out with other Black people. It's about meeting people. This was back before, and I don't know if we talked about this or not, but I'm going to talk about it again. This young man is about the age of Earl. Now he's talking about how, they don't have it as good as we did because they always have their phones with them. And if you're always in your phone, then you can't be present. And that's why his parents had more fun than they ever were, right? Type of thing. And so I do recall that, right? Like we're the last generation that experienced life on both sides of technology. So it's like I can see how, but to them there is no life without technology. There's no life sans technology. So it's like you gotta have your phone, but like we know a life that's like, no, you don't gotta have your phone. You can just be out here in the street. Like that was one of the freest times I've ever had. Actually, it's just like no one can contact me. I'm out.
Right.
Outside. You'll see me when I get
back.
back.
To be either Yeah, that's really crazy that we live like that. Thinking about how we live now, like you left your house, leave your house without your phone tomorrow. You're gonna turn right back around and go get your phone.
It's like we can't even fathom.
Oh my God, this is such a spoiled dog. Who did you like this? Who did it? Cause golly. Ugh.
Okay, now we have a delay, but I need you to talk about Elizabeth Ovesen, who is basically Corinne Steffens. Now, we know about Corinne Steffens from the 90s and early 2000s, where she used to be called Superhead, and she had a whole, life being called that. But then now she's reinvented herself a few times. She's an author. She's a best-selling author. And now she's very much into this sort of aesthetic where she's talking about art and culture. And I was actually looking at some of her pictures because I know who J. Paul Getty is, but it's really interesting to see how she's reinvented herself.
Did you see her story about her with the editors or something like that? She was about to do a book or something. She's trying to write this book, and she had this story about how the process was going, and she had to I don't know, she didn't cuss the lady out, but she basically told the lady about herself or whatever. But she had those little series. It's like a 5-part story that she put on her Instagram.
No, I didn't. Please tell me more.
Well, no, I only watched one or two reels, and then I sent it to you so you could see hey, this is Superhead. I didn't know this was Corinne Stephens. I was already following her, and like one day I looked at it, I said, "Who is this?" And I was like, "Oh my God, this is Corinne Stephens." And so I was like, I'm shocked about how much she's done since then and how she's grown, and she's very smart. The book that she was writing has something to do with, I think, law or something, or politics, or the House of Ill Repute. I don't know what the book is about, to be honest, like specifically, but I just noticed some of the stuff she talks about. But she's very smart, so I'm gonna have to recheck her channel out. I mean, recheck her page out.
Yeah, she is very smart. She's been smart.
Also, she was the first person to try to tell everybody about Puffy ass. I digress.
Oh, I do remember that where she would
She
talk
wrote that
about.
book
She was
about
giving
everybody.
a lot of details, buddy. She was giving a lot of details. I remember that. And I remember thinking, like, why would she say that? Right? Like what does that mean? I remember thinking that, like, what does that mean? Like a bleeding, like I didn't get it, right? And then I don't know if it was you, it must have been you that was like, well, that means this. Right. And I was like, oh, but well, why did she say that? But it's like, yeah, she was one of the first people. It's interesting that now that we get other sides of a story, then those things are like reintroduced, because I do remember she said that, and not that I thought she was crazy, but I just didn't get it. And most people, like, here's the thing about people who do things wild like that. It's like most people aren't going to say anything because it's like not their business or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like once a bunch of people, like, it's almost like it takes for somebody to get hurt before somebody comes out and says something. And by the time somebody comes out and says something, several people have been hurt. And now it's like we're just proving that it exists. Because I'm sure some people probably tried to step out and say something before, but
well, yeah, I mean, those people probably got deleted or like silenced in some way. You know what I'm saying? And people get hurt, but they probably it wouldn't really do anything unless we knew about it. You know what I mean? Some
yeah.
people just kind of like this shit that's coming out with Puffy. This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like the girl that was shot in the club that Sean went down for. She's been saying the whole time that he did it. You know what I mean? That he shot her in the face himself.
Yeah,
Um,
now she's like, no, bring this shit back up.
so
Like,
that's what I'm
he
saying.
shot me.
Imagine everything, the other things that could have happened that aren't spoken about. Like, I feel like it's far worse than we could ever imagine. The stuff that went on or whatever. But anyway, we talking about Elizabeth Ovesson. I didn't mean to sour that whole thing with Puffy talk. We still got her little.
No, it was relevant.
Yeah, but we still got her thing. I was trying to talk about how good she's doing, and I'm sitting here
Yeah.
talking about Dingy. Anyway.
Ah! No, I hear you though, but she was one of the first people to call him out, so there's that. Okay, so the last thing that we're gonna talk about, guys, in this out.
Would you please be quiet, sir?
I've got to bring this back, everybody. Well, listen, we talked about this last week. I just have to go back to the exact same story because I'm not saying anything bad about Azalea Banks, but I watched a podcast, or part of a podcast, the Joe Budden podcast, where he talked about, their whole cast talked about the Beyonce album, and he said something that was interesting. He was like, a lot of people are very quiet, and I thought I knew what he meant, and then I was like, today when I really went back to like put our topics together, I was like, I guess we should revisit, what we said last week before the album came out. And then I realized, like, oh, Azalea Banks hasn't made a statement. Not that we care, like, but at the same time, it drew me back to Joe Budden's statement, which was a lot of people are very quiet, because what I thought he was talking about is other country artists. But then I realized, like, oh, Azalea Banks hasn't made a statement since she made this whole statement about, Beyonce tap dancing and being whitewashed and all this other stuff. Now, when we first listen, we first reported on this, and I still stand behind it. She was making points. Points were made. But since then, the album has come out, and things were like sort of addressed, but not like in the way of like, here's a statement for Azalea Banks, like accusations. It was like, oh, like now that the album is out, what's your take now? And it's like, I haven't heard anything from her now.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully something will come out, because I think in the same way that we serve out expectation, we have to be accountable for that, and say what we think after the fact. If you expected something, like, come forth and say what you think now. And so that's why I'll bring up Joe Budden, because at least he was able to be like, people are quiet. That's why it kind of got to me, because this album was amazing, guys. Like, I just want to say, like, now that I know certain things that were not like available pieces of information, this lady's just playing in our faces. Like, this lady is out here doing things that we've not seen in our lifetime, and she's doing them like almost dismissively of respect for us. Like, she's out here. Let me just tell you something. Like, I like, nobody's comparing themselves to Beyonce, but like, she's bumming people. She's out here playing games in our faces. Like, you think there's one album and there's more, there's like three. It's like, what are you doing? Like, hide your face. I don't even know what's happening here, but I know that this project was a beautiful piece of art. It was like
I
so
heard good things
fun.
about it, but the only song that I'm intrigued about right now is the Jolene song or whatever. But everybody that I know that watched it, that has a YouTube channel, talked about it, said it was good. The overall, I didn't listen to nobody review the album though. I just, you know what I'm saying. I got that it was a bop.
Man, it's more than a bop. It's like, it's really funny. It's like, she's showing personality. There's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful pieces of music. It's like, when you listen to the music, you're going to be delighted. It's like, oh, this is
Okay.
really fun. You like, it's fun. Like, she's having fun. She's playing around with sounds and music
Is
and
she
things.
using
It's,
the flute like Andre 3000?
no, no, she did not do that.
I mean, listen, we're seeing things that people have never done before because that was the why all those memes that week about that was crazy. But
I only heard one song, I think, and I
I'm gonna
didn't
get the
know
album when I get off of here. I didn't get it yet.
which one.
Beyonce.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna
I
get it.
was
I
just
didn't get it yet.
Andre. I think I did download Andre 3000's album, but I
I'm
don't
not
think I
downloading.
listened. I didn't listen to it.
That could have been one of my husbands, but I'm not downloading that song. That,
Man, I gotta talk about that at some point. We're currently in this live, but there's some things I have to say about hip hop, and I really, I have a lot to say there. So I'm not gonna start it here, but there's room for hip hop to be having a lane. And anyway, we're gonna get to that at some other point, but not tonight. But anyway, tonight we're ending this show talking about just like revisiting where we left off last week in anticipation of the Beyonce album, but now having it, I'm going to go ahead and just give my
give us,
thoughts.
yeah, give us your thoughts, sis.
Okay. I thought it was so delightful. I thought it was a delightful, there was one point where I actually got giddy of that. I said, it was like I was listening to the album for maybe like the third or the fourth time, and I was like, oh my God, I could still go back and listen to Renaissance too. It was like a realization. I was like, oh my God, what a gift. It was like such a delight. So the thing about this album is like, obviously she was going for country. It's a country album. It cannot be denied. Any country song you've ever heard, she fits the bill. She's got Willie Nelson. She's got Dolly Parton. How country can you get, guys? Also, she's giving us other genres. She's singing rock. She's rapping. She's singing opera. Like, what the fuck do you want? I literally at some point like laughed to myself because I was like thinking about how how ridiculous it is that she has to dance like this. And I thought to myself, well, Beyonce, undeniable job, but if you want to be a country artist, you need to learn to play the guitar. like, I thought that to myself, like, well, good try, honey, but what come back when you've learned to play the guitar, because it's like she's given us everything. There's so much on this album. It's like it's obviously country, to the point where she's laughing in our faces. And that's why I brought back this Azalea Banks post, because I thought it was really fitting that she kind of like called out some things that I didn't agree with, but at the same time, well, now that she's called them out, and Beyonce has basically made a mockery of the country music aesthetic, right? With her offering. It's like, okay, she's making fun of these people and she still looks good doing it. And she's offered things that have not been offered to her.
All
And
right, I gotta listen to it now.
I mean, here's the thing. It's a standalone project. Outside of it, obviously being country music, there's songs that you're going to listen to and you're like, that's obviously a country song. How could they deny her? But then on top of that, it's like she's just pouring in like talent. It's really ridiculous the way she's playing in people's faces. And your mother really enjoyed it, and she had some things that she wanted to talk about. I want you to talk to her about it when she listened to it. But it's just a fun thing. It's like, oh my God, like when you wake up in the morning, you realize, oh, I could also, like, you got to do the things in life. You got to drive here. You got to pick up the thing. You got to clean the room. You got to blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, when you realize I could do this, listen to Beyonce too. It's just like, oh, it's like an added, like, oh, thank you. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the type of art that it reminds me of.
Listen, do not be sizing this up. If I go listen to this show and it's whack, I'm gonna call you tonight.
I'm not concerned.
What the fuck was you?
No, that will not happen. You're gonna call me and be like, oh my God.
What does number 7 sound like? What's number 7?
Number 7. I'm going.
For those of you that don't know, every time we used to get a CD back in the day or a new tape, because we used to also buy cassette tapes, number 7 used to always be fire. It was always fire. I don't know what it was with the number 7, but
I'm about to find out for you right now.
I'm about to get it as soon as we get off of here. And you said you didn't catch up on Ready to Love, right? You didn't see the last episode.
I didn't see the very last.
Well, the reunion comes on tomorrow. So
number 7 is Texas Hold'em.
Was it? Oh, is that the?
That's the one. So there's a black woman playing the banjo on there.
Okay,
I'll tell you one thing. I'll do a deep dive into this, but.
Well, I mean, I guess that holds true because that show does rock. So,
and here's the thing: all these people denying her. There's 72 million plays on that song. Listen, on YouTube Music, and that's not Apple Music, that's not Amazon, that's not wherever people get music.
Listen, and everybody is using that joint on TikTok, on Shorts and Reels. Yeah, that joint. Yeah,
she put out a remix for it today.
I gotta send you the Go-Go Band that hit that joint already.
Okay. Also, shout out to Beyonce and Jay-Z because it is their 16th wedding anniversary today. 4408 is when they got married. I remember because I worked at Matchbox, and me and 3 of my friends were like, I think they're getting married. They're getting married. We knew 2 days before. And then when it was happening, that we were like getting real-time updates because we were like, standing. But we're like, all these limos went out and they went to, like we were stalking them. We were in DC, by the way. But we were getting updates that like they were getting married, but we were so excited. So anyway, 4/4, this is their wedding.
Yeah, because I feel like I remember it was like a whole thing about where they were getting married at, and certain people were there, and I remember that vaguely.
Yeah. It was really good. But anyway, yes, number 7 is Texas Hold'em. I'll tell you my favorite song. Okay. We got to talk about number 2 first. So number 1, so this is one of the first, she has 27 songs or 27 tracks on this album. It's really interesting because who does that? She was very, intentional about using real instruments. She's like, in the age of AI, she didn't want to do any synthesizers, nothing like that. She used all real instruments. Stevie Wonder played the harmonica on Jolene. Okay. There's the young lady who plays, everybody on here, basically, a lot of people on here are Black. The person who played the banjo on Texas Hold'em is a Black woman. She's a part of a folk group. One of the things, I'm not going to lie, and I'm not a crier, but I cried at this. The second track on the album, I was like, oh, what is this voice? Like, it was good harmonies. It's a song that was written by Paul McCartney from the Beatles, but I didn't know that before, but it was such a good harmony. And then I was like, that's not Beyonce's voice. Like, there was a voice that I recognized, but I didn't know who it was. And I went and read the credits, and it's Tanner Adele, Brittany Spencer, and 2 other Black women in the country space. And they have they have royalties based off of the fact that they were mentioned in, like they're in the credits. I thought that was so amazing on track number 2. Like, putting your money where your mouth is. Like, these Black women have been fighting in this country space. She's also sent all of these flowers and stuff to like K Michelle and other country artists, and I'm appreciative of, like, yeah, she's bringing her machine into that space, but she's doing her thing. There's a lot of Black artists on here. We have Willie Nelson, who's not a Black artist, but obviously is synonymous with country music. And then we have a man named Willie Jones. We have a rap record from Beyoncé, which should be taken seriously.
I've got to download this shit right now.
I mean, she's singing opera on this. She's got rock songs on this. She's got a duet with Miley Cyrus, which is amazing. And if they don't get a Grammy for that, the Grammys are crazy. The Grammys actually put out a story this week about this album, and I was like, how can you?
Yeah, but didn't we talk about the Grammys? Wasn't it the Grammys or the Oscars that we was talking about, where people don't really like? There's really no criteria.
It was the Grammys.
Yeah. So yeah.
But the Grammys, listen, this song with Miley Cyrus, actually, the textures of their voice don't match. There's so much that could have gone wrong with this song, but it's such a beautiful song. The lyrics are amazing. The way that they blended, the high note that they both hit at the end, and you couldn't tell who was who at first. They did this right. Whoever worked on this, and this is classic Beyonce. She worked with the best people, obviously. She's got a Black history footprint on this. Linda Martell doing narration. There's so many things that are happening in this album, and to know that she made this before Renaissance and had to keep the secret. Another thing that I noticed, and I'm going to make this prediction now for you here tonight, I do believe that this is going to be a 4-part deal because her number is 4. She's got 2 acts. When you look at the 2 albums together, and they're both, it's like a silver horse and a white horse, I think she's going to do 4. I don't see her stopping at 2. I don't see her stopping at 3 because 4 is her number.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she was born on the 4th of September. Jay-Z was born on the 4th of December. They were married on 4/4. Like, that's their thing. They both have albums with 4. Like, they're just obsessed with 4. They both have the thing tattooed on their ring fingers. Like, she has to do 4 acts. Like,
what do you think? So what does she have? How many more does she have?
So she has 2 right now. She has Renaissance's.
So what do you think the other things are going to be?
I think she has to do a rock album.
A rock album. Okay, I can see that.
And if we're playing games here, which I heard some sounds from this album that I heard in the Renaissance album. So if she's like playing games, which I think is so fun that she's playing games with us. I think it's hilarious. It's like,
I gotta listen to this album so I can see what the hell you're talking about.
You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh, but you're also gonna be delighted. It's like,
so for the people that don't know, my sister sings. She also was a drum major in high school. She played trumpet, so she could read music and all of that. So sometimes she hears stuff that is, deeper than just your surface stuff. So this is why I'm really intently listening to her on this, because she actually has some expertise in this. Okay, so.
I think listen, when you listen to it, you're going to be delighted. It's an earful of delight. And she comes right out the gate. It's, most albums when you listen to it, it's like the intro is the intro, da 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 da. She comes out, the intro is about 3 songs. Like, it's like, they're all short songs, but
I was going to ask you that too. How long are they?
They're all about 3 to 5 minutes, like 3 to 4 minutes. Most of them are 3 minutes. They're short songs, but you're gonna love the songs. But like when she starts out on that first song, you're gonna like that song. It's not like a buffer song. It's not like it's 1999 like killers, even though that was let me just tell you something.
We used to listen to that.
Think about back in the day when he was 89, little nigga with the ground. Look, I know that whole Bone Thugs.
Boom, 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 boom. Anyway, let's not.
Boom, 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 boom. Listen, but I'm just saying, like, how those skits and stuff would be for texture or whatever. But it's like this is a story. She's doing their damn thing, and like we got to be just really honest about. Obviously, the records are country. There's a couple songs. I didn't even mention my favorite songs. My favorite song on the album is "Ya Ya." It's down. It's number 20.
Okay, I'm bored.
Levi's Jeans with Post Malone, one of my favorite songs. Two Most Wanted with Miley Cyrus, one of my favorite songs. My favorite actual songs on the thing are probably Bodyguard, Protector. So I gotta go from the top. American Requiem, this is the first song. It's something about that song. It does give you goosebumps. But then when I heard Blackbird, I literally shed tears because when I heard the song, it's a beautiful song. But then when I went and checked the lyrics or the credits and realized that this Black woman gave other Black women credit on the song and they can up their resumes because they worked with her, I was like, that's where it counts. And it was a.
However, I must ask one question. Hasn't she been in trouble for that before or under fire about not doing that before? Okay, so she did do the right thing this time. Okay, all right.
Yeah. That was it. Listen, that's a good call out. But this time it worked out. So then she's got, and 16 Carriages, and I think Texas Hold'em was written by Raphael Sadiq. Did you know that? Isn't that fun? Well, listen, they're all really good songs. I like Protector. Rumi Carter, has a line in that. Willie Nelson. It's so funny the way she used Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton to make her point. Because one of the things that I think is overarchingly, which is why I'm calling Azalea Back to the Carpet, because it's like she's just making fun of country music at this point.
I have to listen to it so I can see why you're saying that. Okay?
She's making fun of the machine. When you look at the visuals and you listen to the lyrics, she's obviously, she's obviously promoting herself and she's obviously promoting her struggle, but she has a lot of Black history built into it as well. And she's obviously
I can do this.
I can do this too. But she's also like, okay, when you go listen to it, you're going to hear this. Here's what she's saying. This is so funny because I don't know that she's saying this, but this is what I think she's saying. She's like, oh, you didn't think I can do country music? Here. Oh, and fuck you. It's like she's hitting all the notes. She's doing all the things. Pay special attention to her background. It's like, for you to take the time to do these types of backgrounds, it's like, oh, you had time today. Like she's doing things that are they're funny. It's like, now when I look at the imagery, it's like, hey, I'm country. This is a country album. Look, there's a flag and a horse. And and now listen to the lyrics, because basically that's what she's saying. You know what I mean?
I gotta listen to it tonight.
But it's also delightful.
We'll reconvene on that next week so I can actually give it a full week's listen and see, So about how many songs would you say you like out of the, what did you say, 27?
I would probably say 10. That I love.
Only 10? Okay.
No, I love the whole album. I can literally.
So what is it? You said there was 27 total, right?
Yeah, but there's a lot of interludes of 51 seconds and this and that, right? It's like most songs are about 3 minutes. Okay. American Requiem, the first song, you're gonna get into that. That's 3 songs in one because she kind of switches it up Nicki Minaj or something.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give this. This is gonna be the first album I've really listened to in a long time. From
my favorite songs, I'm gonna go in order. Blackbird. I love American Requiem, which is number 1, but it's an intro. Blackbird, which is number 2. That's the one with Tanner Dell, Brittany Spencer. I love that one. I love I love Protector. I love Protector. You're gonna love Protector too. That's number 4. I kind of like My Rose. I think that was dedicated to her son.
All right, look, I'm not writing none of yours down.
Of course not. No, I don't expect you to do that.
I want to talk about which ones I want to see which I'm not listening to what you said you like because I want to.
Yeah, you gotta judge the whole thing. Her rendition of Jolene. So Dolly Parton originally wrote Jolene. Dolly Parton rewrote Jolene for Beyoncé, and it's.
I heard that. Yeah.
It's good. So then there's a song called Daughter. That's amazing. Right after that is the rap song Spaghetti. I love those two. I love the Miley Cyrus song. That's number 16. Levi's Jeans right after that with Post Malone. A classic country song. You cannot deny the country in this. It's actually quite interesting. There's one song that I feel like that she was trying to emulate Jodeci. And I think that was towards the end. I think it was
Okay.
called Two Hands to Heaven. Anyway, my favorite song on the album is called Ya Ya. It's number
Okay.
20.
I'm not taking any of these in. Like I said, I'm trying to.
Sure.
I'm not going
We
to
can
go
hear
into
Ya Ya though.
like this one. Let me see if I like it. I'm gonna just give this on a blind listen to see.
Yeah.
You know, if it's actually.
I almost
good as
don't
you
even
say.
want to load this up, but your mother' favorite song is Ya Ya also. Then
If that song is about something raunchy, I'm gonna be disgusted. But okay.
well,
Oh, God.
there's another song called River Dance, which I fucks with. And then Two Hands to Heaven and Tyrant. These are bomb ass songs. Like she's just shitting on people. It's like imagine someone showed up in full hair and makeup just to shit on people. And then imagine that person was Beyonce, and this is the album.
All right,
if they don't if she doesn't get album of the year, this is ridiculous. It's like they should just shut down at this point because it's like, okay, she overdid it. It's like she overdid it, but it's also enjoyable. It's not like this is weird.
Okay, all right. Good.
You're gonna like it.
Well, if you are watching this on the replay, definitely get in the comments below and give us your takeaways. Not even takeaways, but your favorite songs on the Beyonce album, her new country. Is it safe to say it's a country album, right?
Yeah, she says it's not a country album, it's a Beyonce album. It's a country album.
I guess just like it's Beyonce's internet, I guess Beyonce's the new word for country.
Hey, we're all just here trying to keep up.
Trying
not to look like bums next to Beyonce. Because like how many hours does she have in a day? Like what? But she always
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just say she already said she can't cook, so okay. That's where God
loves. I guess she don't have to, yeah. But have you ever listened to this? Doesn't K Michelle do country music?
Yes.
Did she have a whole country album?
Yes, she has good country albums. Yes, K Michelle is very good. She has a single out now.
Has a country voice. You know what I mean? Like her, she could sing. So I gotta check hers out too. Okay, yeah.
One thing about K Michelle is that she can yodel.
Mm-hmm.
I think is a folk like thing, but
not everybody can do. Like
not everybody can do that, and that is a talent that is like. You can't just leverage that and learn how to do that on the weekend. You know what I mean?
I watched the back in 2020, I guess, Real Chance at Love. When Zeus at first came out when there wasn't really nothing on there. And he had all these girls to come meet him or whatever, and there was one that could yodel. And so she yodeled and stuff like that. But anyway.
No, K Michelle though is a beast, and you know, there's certain things that like I hope that like I want Beyonce and what's her name? Miley Cyrus. I don't think they recorded that song that they have on the album in the same room. I want them to do that live. I want to see what that looks like because Miley's style and her texture of her voice is so different than Beyonce, and it doesn't match, but it sounds good. And I love that it's like sandpaper on silk or something. It's like Miley has such a swag that people don't get, but Miley got something, and to hear her on a song with Beyonce, it's good. They both hold their own. In fact, Miley might have renegaded Beyonce on that, but it's a good song both ways. Like even the way that Jay-Z did Renegade and when I say renegaded, I'm talking about Eminem, the way he came on that song Renegade with Jay-Z, and he kind of like took it over. And so Miley could be considered that element on this record, but not really because they both held their own. I mean, which is the same with Renegade, but I would love to see them perform that together because obviously they didn't record it in the same studio at the same time. They probably like layered their tracks and meshed it together, but they both sound great, and I would love to see them perform that together. But anyway, That's what I have for you guys on the music front. But I can't wait for you to hear it and give
All
it a
right,
think.
well, yeah, I'm gonna download it as soon as I get off of here. I'm gonna try to listen to some of it tonight, but I didn't realize it was like I forgot that we started really, really late tonight. So
You did. But anyway, listen, it's been fun. I can't wait to catch up with you next week. When I'm
yeah, I
sure
will have listened to it by then.
a lot more will have happened too. And I do know a little bit about like what's happening in the uh like not even necessarily like what's of the dating show world, and we do have to catch up on that.
Yeah,
But
because the reunion is tomorrow, so next week will be. I think they're doing the reunion in two parts, but next week will be a good time. So catch up on the episode that you missed for last week, because tomorrow the reunion comes on, the first part. I think I don't know if it's in two parts or not, but for
I'm
Ready to
gonna catch
Love,
up
right?
on it.
Huh?
I said I'm gonna catch up on it for sure.
Yes, yes. So because I need to talk to you about these interviews, because I watched Alonzo's interview last night, and all I just can say is bless his heart, because and bless Kojo's heart, because he's got to be the most patient person that I ever watched interview somebody. But last night was just all I can say is bless Alonzo's heart.
See, I don't know if I can be that patient with people. We're
Well,
gonna have to
yeah,
talk
you
about this
haven't even
offline.
seen the thing. It was just. I'm gonna get into that in more depth after I watch the first part of the reunion, or whatever part of the reunion this is gonna be. I'll get into some more depth about it, but I feel like they find the most wildest personalities to put on TV, and just because they know that something is gonna trigger these people to bring out their real selves, and
Mm.
it's gonna be the TV golden moment,
Mm.
and it's just anyway. Anyway, so we'll see how the reunion goes tomorrow.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Catch us next week. We'll be talking about whatever's happened on the internet since now and then.
Facts. And if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to drop in the comments, add to the conversation. Um, yeah, that's all I got for y'all. It's a little late night, so we about to get out of here. I'm about to download this album, and I'll see y'all in the next video.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.